How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, at Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And it is Wednesday here on the show. You know what that means? We got a lot to talk about, as always. Last night, NXT. A lot of good wrestling on NXT. I couldn't hate the show yesterday. The booking sucks. But the wrestling itself was very good, particularly the women's main event, which was actually the best match on the show. So we'll talk about that here today. We got Dynamite coming up tonight. We got a full lineup for the show, more added, including some new signees, who, as is always the case in AEW, will be debuting to get beat, but that's the way things go. We've also got a ton of notes on the Netflix WBD, Netflix, and AEW. What's the latest? We'll tell you here today. TNA Impact ratings from the Thursday AMC debut. We actually have a correction from the end of the show yesterday. Ciampa is gone from WWE. Shingo is injured. Somebody may be coming to WWE. Got an update on Rusev and a Nixon Newell quote, which I will read without comment. Moose. And plenty more. Filthy Tom Lawler is joining us here today. And I believe we have a special guest as well. So we'll be talking about that when we come back from the break. If you want to text us here today, 425-780-7566 is the phone number. That is 425-780-7566. F4WOnline@gmail.com is the email. F4WOnline also on Threads, Instagram, and Cameo at 4W Online. If you haven't gotten a Cameo yet, man, I don't know what you're waiting for. That Bryan Alvarez, X and Blue Sky. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Check out this free video and make sure you hit like and subscribe.
If Truth didn't have the best weekend in this company, then Mr. Iguana did.
Oh, yeah, this guy is over, dude.
We'll get to him in the Worlds Collide review, but
he's got merch up on WWE shop.
He's going to make so much
He's got these
money.
Kids that want to see more Mr. Iguana.
Yeah. So
his face paint is so funny.
I must stop you right here. It's not face paint.
Oh, would you stop?
It's head paint.
Yeah, it looks,
he paints his whole damn head.
It looks like he's he gets held upside down and they just dunk his head in green paint.
Yes.
It's absolutely bizarre.
And when he's not wrestling, he wears the round silver spectacles.
Yes.
And
he
flicks his tongue constantly.
Yes.
As an iguana would. And Del Toro and Octagon do whatever, and people are patient, but they don't care. And then Iguana tags in, and they are hyped. It took about 7 seconds to make himself my favorite luchador. He starts, I forget who he's in there with, but the guy offers a handshake, and so he licks it because he's an iguana, and then he gets hit with a shoulder tackle, or it's a chop. He takes a chop, he drops to his back, he sticks all four limbs straight in the air.
Yes.
He's playing dead like an iguana would. So then he brings in the puppet. I didn't get the puppet's name. I should have used it 50 times. But it's an iguana puppet that he thinks is real. Well, sometimes.
Already up on WWE shop.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You know if Harley Cameron's doll is on the AEW?
I do not know.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
So he starts doing spots with the puppet in his mouth. He lets the puppet try to get the pin. And amidst all the silliness, Conan says, you know this Mr. Iguana, he's most popular with children.
I liked how as soon as the puppet started doing spots, Corey Graves goes, is that legal in Mexico? And without skipping a beat, Conan goes, yes.
Low on the list of things you will see in a Lucha Libre match, especially in AAA. So he starts using the puppet more as a weapon, or as a distraction, I should say. But it ends up with Lindsay Dorado getting a hold of this puppet, and he snaps, and he stomps the puppet, and he grabs the puppet, and he Spanish flies the puppet. This crowd is outraged. They're pissed. They're furious. But you know he's even more pissed and furious?
It got more heat than anything else. Maybe on the entire show,
Mr.
actually.
Goddamn Iguana.
They were
who's
furious.
Seething, and his eyes are breaking out, and he snaps and just rips ass. He grabs his own lizard and is whipping these guys with it. And then they remember it's just a puppet, and they stop selling.
This was a very, very fun match. I liked it a lot. And there's a lot to learn here about marketing.
Yeah.
Well, we're back here on the show. We're on top of our game like we always are, right, Tom?
Oh, we sure are. I mean, there's no departure from the norm.
We have no guest today, but we will have a guest later this week. And I can alert you all also next week and the week after.
What?
They're coming out of the woodwork.
You didn't even alert me of that.
To appear on, well, I just found out. To appear on this show.
Ha!
People jumping out of the woodwork. And I'm sure there will be more to come. There's an open invite to be a guest on this show, everybody. It's not like we ever got anything to talk about.
The only people that ever really want to come on and talk to us, Brian, are people who have something to sell.
Oh, well, of course. That's
Many
why
times
people do any interview.
Yeah, that's true. But, we try to keep it, at least on the academic side. And not ruin people's days on the radio. So we have some esteemed guests, or at least on my end, we have
They're all
coming
esteemed.
up. Tomorrow will be the author of Way of the Blade 1 and 2.
Oh, wow.
Including the AEW edition. A man who has promoted the Dean shows in the past and the now upcoming Death Valley Days show taking place next month. Tomorrow we will have Phil Schneider, who I am very excited to speak to.
Yeti Pot Pie here says, I'm available, but my price is high, which reminds me, there's someone else you're supposed to be trying to get on this show, Tom. Did you already forget?
No, I remember.
Okay. You just haven't done anything yet?
I'm tempering it.
Okay. Listen, AEW Dynamite is tonight. We have a full card. Kenny Omega versus Josh Alexander, which Josh Alexander is very excited to have this match. It's a dream match of his, and it should be great. MJF will appear. Swerve Strickland versus Kevin Knight, which should be great. Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. We're already kicking off the Death Riders and the Don Callis family. That escalated very quickly from Collision. Moxley, Wheeler, and Daniel Garcia versus Rocky, Hechicero, and Lance Archer. I thought Hechicero was injured, so we'll see what happens. Triangle of Madness will make an appearance. Samoa Joe faces Speedball Mike Bailey. And it would not be AEW if we did not have a brand new debuting team put into a match that they will assuredly lose. Alex Price and Jordan Oliver, newly signed, will be facing FTR. So that is the lineup for Dynamite tonight. And that brings us to this story that came out yesterday. Hollywood Reporter delved into a 519-page SEC document that came out Tuesday morning, heralded Netflix's all-cash adjustment to their offer to acquire the Warner Brothers studio and other assets from WBD, which would leave the cable channels behind. In their research, Hollywood Reporter surmised that because AEW was not specifically mentioned in the document, that after the deal is done, AEW programming, including pay-per-views, are expected to continue streaming and simulcasting on HBO Max through the end of their current contract, which ends in either 2027 or 2028, depending on the option. And they opined that AEW would likely join Turner Sports' streaming app that would be operated by Global Linear Networks, the company that would hold all the assets not being taken by Netflix. This would be if the option is picked up and if they re-sign with WBD.
Yeah, who's in charge of Global Linear Networks? Is that just like somebody left over from WBD now?
Turner Sports. It's the Turner Sports streaming app.
That's what their parent company will be?
It'll be Global Linear Networks.
Wow, that really rolls off the tongue.
It sure does. They also speculated some kind of non-exclusive arrangement could be cut, where both HBO Max and Turner Sports air AEW events. All of this would be assuming that AEW remains with WBD, GLN, after the current deal is up. The report confirmed, which is something that we have known for a while, that in fact WBD does own a minority stake in AEW, which will remain with GLN post-Netflix sale. The stake in AEW would have to be less than 10%, or else WBD would need to disclose that information publicly. AEW head Tony Khan has been asked to confirm this before. While he has never done that, he has also never denied it. So, they own less than 10%, but they do own an ownership stake. Report opined, and Netflix and HBO Max would probably not fight to keep AEW, perhaps due to the unconfirmed non-compete clause TKO incorporated in their Netflix deal, quote, a relic of the old days. In other words, they believe that when WWE went to Netflix, they had a non-compete clause basically stating no other pro wrestling programming, live weekly programming, will air on Netflix. And that's the story there. So really, I don't think anything we didn't know. If WBD, if Netflix, wins and ends up purchasing the studio and such, I mean, there's nothing that's going to change with AEW until at least next year, okay?
And that is with the end of the contract with HBO Max.
Yes, they will stay on HBO Max through this contract period, which ends in 2027, although there is a one-year option that could be picked up to 2028, which presumably will be, but there's no guarantee.
I mean, if you are a new sports app like this TNT Sports app is going to be, I would think that you would want to at least hold on to the properties that have some fans that you have control of, and AEW is like the only thing that they currently have in that realm. I mean, they have hockey, right?
Hockey does well, but
college basketball.
Also,
pickleball.
Yesterday we had the Impact number at the end of the show, but that number was, in fact, incorrect. It was incorrect.
Are you saying you were wrong?
The actual number of viewers, actually, I mean, I don't want to throw the guy under the bus, but we did credit. I don't want to throw him under the bus. But anyway, the actual number for the debut on AMC was 173,000 viewers. I believe the 90,000 number, the original number that came out was like 90,000, I think. And the reason that number came out is because they had some weird ranking thing. And I think what happened was Impact was ranked 90, but it was mistakenly thought that that was the actual viewership of the show. So anyway, 173,000 viewers and a 0.04. So they did fewer. If we're going to make any comparison, this past week's Collision did more viewers. They did 271,000 viewers, but TNA did beat them in the demo. TNA did a 0.04. Collision did a 0.03. So
yes, and with both, you also have to imagine there are people watching streaming. I don't know what the percentage is comparatively between the HBO Max streaming network and the AMC streaming. You would imagine that HBO has a much larger reach, but that doesn't necessarily mean that more people are watching.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is when it comes to TNA, we actually have them streaming in two different places. So
YouTube as well, right?
No,
TNA
I don't
Plus?
think we have TNA Plus and AMC Plus. So they're on AMC, AMC Plus, and TNA Plus. So obviously more people are watching than this, but we're not going to do this. I mean, it's just these are the numbers, everyone, and my guess is that Collision will probably. I think Collision and TNA and AMC are the fairest comparison because I think they're going to probably be battling. Although I do think that it's always the first week that does the best, and especially after that first show, if they do 170,000 and 0.4 this coming Thursday. They should be thanking the good Lord. I did not expect that to happen. In fact, it could be closer to that 90,000 and 0.03, but we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, I think TNA used to have a subscription service on YouTube that is no longer there.
They
That's why
did.
I'm confused.
For
right?
sure. But now...
That is I am on their YouTube, and that is no longer an option. So
Yeah.
Although you could go watch... Oh, right now, Bully Ray doing a promo with Devon and Jeremy Borash backstage. Look at that.
How about that?
Live.
All right, back in a moment with more news. We'll do the NXT report later on. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Granny, how are you feeling?
I'm good. Set up an exercise program.
What kind of exercises are you doing?
Well, for one thing, just sit and
I got that one
me?
down.
kick my
Sounds like
feet.
my exercise program.
Your exercise is just sitting.
Who was the most inspiring person you have ever met?
Granny of late.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I got nothing better.
I'll have to say myself.
Okay.
What's the best part about having a massive heart attack?
Not dying, I guess.
There you go. Good answer.
Jeez, what a question.
Which vegetable would you send to outer space for aliens to try?
Broccoli.
How do you have that so quickly?
Ridiculously fast answer.
You've thought about this before.
It was at WrestleMania, the one in Phoenix. I can't remember which one.
I gotta go. I have to sneeze. Bye.
Okay, bye, Granny. Granny laid on the guilt trip to end all guilt trips. Sorry, I wrote. Forgot we going 30 minutes late. And then you began. Gee, thanks. 30 minutes late. Was not told. Aggravating. I guess my time doesn't mean anything. Jeez.
Wow.
Golly. You happy, Granny? You made me so angry. You're over there snickering, laughing at what you've done. God.
Good.
You're going to have a heart attack
Anything
like
else?
Granny.
Yeah.
Goody, goody.
Goody, goody, she says. The news you having a...
What
Cardiac
medication
arrest.
did they give you? To make the heart blacker? You enjoying yourself, quietly giggling over there? All right, Granny. What have you got today?
Nothing.
All right, we'll see you later.
You better have something after all that.
Liv Morgan versus Ray Ripley. Just recently.
That's the date.
You told me that you watched CM Punk and Drew and didn't watch any more of the show, but this was on the show.
I know. I watched this one because I wanted to see what happened with Dominic. In which Midwestern city did rapper Eminem grow up?
Detroit.
Eminem?
8 Mile.
Okay, we had a new segment. Granny reads rapper names. That's
I'm an M.
I am an M.
Eminem.
Eminem.
Yep.
Eminem.
Ryan Adams covered an entire Taylor Swift album. What is the name of that album?
Ryan Adams.
1989.
Yeah.
That's the right answer, dum-dum.
Excuse me.
Okay, now I'll quit picking on Brian and go away.
Thanks, Granny. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Ciampa confirmed his WWE departure. He said, in the very near future, my contract with WWE officially comes to an end. I'd like to thank every single person who contributed to the last 10 years of this incredible journey. Very special thank you to all the men and women in the locker room. Would be remiss not to give a special thank you to my black and gold family, my wife and daughter. Spent the first decades of my career traveling the world in the independent scene. Second decade traveling the world with WWE. I have 1 decade remaining. I'm beyond excited for whatever challenges that lie ahead. I'm an incredibly lucky person. One of the few who has spent his entire adult life living in his childhood dream, and it continues to evolve. And he says, with that said, for the first time in over 10 years, I'm available for all appearances. Signings, photo ops, seminars, movies, TV appearances, fitness collaborations, sponsorships, and so forth. Funny, so am I. You can contact him at bookchomp@gmail.com, or I'm F4WOnline at gmail.com. I should get that guy in Cameo. It's another good one. He might be on there for all I know. But anyway. All right, Shingo Takagi. Today only? Now you tell me this?
No, but I think that's the way that we should do it.
Okay, well, let me get through some news real quick, and then we'll talk about NXT, and then we'll make a switch here. All right, Shingo Takagi will be missing some upcoming New Japan events, but he won't be out of action long. He has got, are you ready for this? Damage sustained January 19th and 20th due to his left rib cage and torso.
This is Shingo Takagi?
Yeah.
Did this happen on his honeymoon?
I don't know, man.
Because didn't he just get
He
married to
did just get
Natsupoi?
married to Natsupoi, yes.
And now he's injured?
It said this was
In-
it did
in his
say at Korakuen
midsection-
Hall.
What did you say? His pelvis region?
Bro, we got to get moving here. Jeez. By the way,
The people want to know.
Evil might be on his way out of New Japan. And it is strongly rumored that he is on his way to WWE.
Well,
Which, of course, Tony Khan doesn't like Evil. Remember that? Remember that weird story that came out? I always love weird stories that are so oddly specific. Tony Khan doesn't like Evil. It's like, what do you mean you don't like Evil? Like, don't be a mark. Like, the guy can work. He just does those House of Torture matches. You don't have to let him. So anyway, I think
Evil's one of the best heels in the business,
yeah.
without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, top 10 heel. You can hate the shtick. You can hate what it represents. You can boo it all you want. But he is fantastic at what he does. I absolutely love nothing more than a heel who's not trying to get cheered. And Evil is exactly that. Evil.
I will very quickly say, with no comment added, Nixon Newell did a long interview with the Wrestling Classic, and she believes there was no ill will on either side and that they could be back. Moose! You guys watch that TNA pay-per-view when that guy took that backdrop onto the steps and he landed about as perfectly as you can land and it played into the match and everything? Apparently he screwed his back up. So that he did get hurt on that spot, but he did make it back in and he did continue the match, and he has had back problems for a long time, but like it worked so perfectly into that match, I thought for sure it was like all by design, and apparently it wasn't. He hurt his back. So I'm sure he was supposed to take the bump and sell the back for a while, but it's like one of those deals where, you know, you do an injury spot, and then you actually get injured doing it. What is happening over there? You working as producer for this show while we're at it? Just say we're going to give him a call on the telephone.
It wasn't even him.
Okay.
Somebody else is calling me.
All right. Hopefully it's not Nixon Newell. All right. A couple of notes from the NXT show. We just got to do a quick couple of notes here. So the booking's terrible. Nothing has changed there. We'll get the negative out of the way first. The booking sucks. The Tony D storyline is death. Literally, his gimmick is like bearded, angry mute. He never talks. He just stands there with his beard, looking into the camera with his beady eyes, and he beats everybody up. And that's all he did on the show. And finally, Ava called the cops, and he got arrested. And he just kept interfering in all these matches. And I was just like, are we going anywhere with this? Like, what are we doing here? This sucks. Am I supposed to like the guy, dislike the guy? Like, why is he employed? I don't get it. And then they're doing the same thing, talking about stupid booking. They got that guy. What's that guy's name?
Robert Stone?
No, the Carver.
The personal concierge.
The Carver.
Bryan.
Keanu Carver.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so, like, Tony D, who is a contracted wrestler, keeps showing up and beating up people. And so Ava has had the guy arrested. The cops came and arrested him, okay? Meanwhile, this Keanu Carver is not only basically doing the same thing, but they set him up for an interview, and he says, I ain't talking. And so this numbskull interviewer decides to ask him a question anyway. He goes, did you hear me? I said I'm not talking. And he stands up and he leaves. And then they did another one later where like he was asked to do something and he didn't, and he just stormed out. And it was like, why are you employed? Who is employing you? What are we paying you to do here? So that sucks.
Blake is the guy's name.
Blake Howard.
He infuriates me every single time he's on screen.
Oh, this guy, I've turned the corner on Blake Howard. His gimmick
Oh my God.
is to be
I guess it's his gimmick.
absolutely, completely useless. That's his gimmick.
Tony D is getting arrested And he decides, this is my chance.
Yeah.
This is my chance to make a shot in this industry. I'm going to get the scoop. And he runs up while Tony D is getting cuffed and shoved into a cop car. And he's badgering him, asking him questions. And I howled. I died. Because as he's like miffed by what's going on, he's baffled. OTM walks up and they push this nerd. They pushed him to the ground. And then cut a promo on Dark State.
Yes.
I loved it.
All right, now, some good. The opening match was Ethan Page and Elio LaFleur, NXT North American title. This match was really freaking good. And Elio LaFleur, you can see that, like, he still does have a way to go with certain things, but he's really good, and the fans love him, and he's really spectacular. And this was so NXT in 2026. They do this match, and I just thought, you know what? You just lost at least 4 big-name talents. Like, you're out of talent right now. You've got, like, Ricky Starks and Ethan Page, on the men's side at least. And it's like, you guys need to make a star, like, right now. And this Elio LaFleur, it was like the perfect day. Bring this guy in, have him have an awesome match, beat Ethan Page for the North American title. Anybody want to guess? They beat him. And then later, he slinks his way to Ava and just goes, thank you so much for the opportunity. And she goes, don't worry, Elio. We'll make sure that you have another appearance someday. I'm like, you made him the biggest nerd in his debut when you could have just made him the champion on the first day and actually made a star. God, I was like, whatever, who cares? Then Shiloh Hill and Josh Briggs, they just had like a pro wrestling version of a fight.
Oh my God. On commentary, Booker T, I could not believe what Booker T said. I think I wrote it down word for word. But, like, he's wrestling Shiloh Hill, and Booker T starts saying, man, this Josh Briggs, if he doesn't get a win soon, he's going to get cut from WWE. You know what happens after WrestleMania. People get cut. He's going to lose his job. And then he lost clean.
Oh, my God. Booker was Booker. But that was a really good match. And then Shawn Legacy and Eli Knight. This was also a really good match.
Also, Swipe Right, who are now just the Vanity Project, and Chase U, I thought was great.
It wasn't so much that match that was great, but what was great about that match was Kale.
Yeah.
The guy named after, like, lettuce. Oh,
the Vanity Project are awesome for what they are,
hold
too.
On a second.
Come on.
They did a good job, but, like, this was the best Kale Dixon I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he looked so good in this match. It was like,
yeah.
If this guy looks like this all the time, why is he not on the main roster? I've never seen this guy look this good. He was freaking awesome in this match.
He did one of the best Fosbury flops you've ever seen, and then a fantastic
full
twisting
body splash.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's got some other things that he needs to shore up before he obviously gets to the main roster, or he's in a singles role. But, man, what we saw in this match was beyond promising.
And then after all that, the best match on the show was Kendall and Ren versus Fatal Influence versus Soul and Zarya. The only problem with this match, which isn't really a problem with this match in particular, is they did so much stuff. It was so ultra choreographed that I watched it and I just thought, you know what? No one's actually learning anything that's going to help them on the main roster in this match. They're just having this incredible performance that they practiced. But my God, this match was incredible. And Kendall Gray, we had Kendall, Ren, both the Fatal Influence,
fantastic.
Soul, and Zarya. But, bro, Kendall was the best woman in this match by miles.
Her and Ren look like the best team on the roster.
And this Kendall, like, she did gymnastics when she was like a little girl, but she wasn't like world class or like it wasn't like her thing. She did a better moonsault off the post of the floor than any gymnast that they have on the roster. I'm talking Tiffany. I'm talking Kalani. She had the best moonsault. It was absolutely beautiful off the post of the floor. She's not even a freaking gymnast. Anyway.
Hell of a match.
Back in a moment, Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful.
I am going to channel the well-known, infamous roast of Bryan and Lance.
Oh my God.
I vaguely remember this.
Lance was a champion in virtually every company he has appeared in. While he did hold the distinction of holding 3 titles, that angle fizzled out faster than his podcast Killing the Town.
Wow. I now remember this utter disaster of a roast.
Let's get Lance a chair to sit in. And as we do, could we also bring someone up here to show him how to use it? I remember that chair shot. I don't remember who it was on, but
utter silence that this roast was met with.
Tom, at least I was smart enough not to do those chair shots again.
Brian, besides me, there are others who I'm sure dislike you, like Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff, but I think you're great, like a guiding light or a father, which is why I'm not surprised when you screw me every week. The best-selling author of The Death of WCW. He had just completed his new book, for which actually Lance Storm wrote the foreword, which is 3 more than most wrestling fans know.
Hideous. Atrocious.
It must be hard when you look so young. If I didn't know better, I'd say you had your grandma's jeans. But actually, if the camera panned down, I bet Lance is wearing them. Anyways, let's start the show. Carmelo went for the La Mystica. Andrade went for the Message.
It's actually not the La Mystica. It starts like a La Mystica, but the La Mystica is actually a submission, and he doesn't land in the submission. He just does the whole slam part and then jumps up.
Yeah, the La Mystica is a tilt-a-whirl head scissor into a Fujiwara armbar.
Into a Fujiwara armbar. The La Mystica is not the submission. Do not tell me.
I didn't say that was a submission. I said the La Mystica involves the tilt-a-whirl facebuster into the submission. The whole thing. Why are you so angry?
Well, you just changed what you said and lied, right?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't land in a submission. He just slams them. So it's not a La Mystica.
I believe that's the actual move.
Okay,
but
whatever. Who cares?
I just hope Editor Sean pulls up the exact clip of you saying La Mystica is a submission and then denying it afterwards.
La Mystica is actually a submission. I didn't say that was a submission.
La Mystica is actually a submission. I didn't say that was a submission.
Editor Sean.
Good God Almighty, we're back. And yes, Phil Schneider is on the show today, everybody. Right now he's here.
Phil Schneider, the author, the author of Way of the Blade, the promoter of Segunda Caída Action. Thank you for being on the show as we had planned today, Phil.
Yes.
No, it's good. I'm glad to do it. If this actually day works better for me today than the day I thought I was working, our second car is in the shop, so I'm just at home reading law school files and sitting around.
Very, very exciting how we made this work. Phil, I don't know if you've ever been on the show with me. Have you? Have we ever spoken?
I was talking to Tom about this. I think, Brian, me and you briefly met at the APW King of the Indies in 2001.
I was there.
And I think that I used to call the IATA show occasionally.
Oh, my
1999.
God.
But outside of that, I think it's been 20-odd years since we've chatted. So how you doing, man?
I remember I used to go on Death Valley Driver all the time. I stole all of Dean's gimmicks. And I know your name like the back of my hand, but we've never done a show here. So very exciting today to talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, it's happy to be here. Glad to touch base with you. Obviously, I know Tom well, but like I said, this is a first chance in many decades.
Well, I'll let Tom ask about the book in a second, but I got to ask the one question here, which is, tell us about how the Dean shows began, and they have now they've been altered. Is that right?
Well, so the first, I kind of wanted its bucket list thing to do was promote a show for a long time, but something I always kind of always was on my, long list of things I wanted to check off. And I got in touch with Matt Griffin, who promotes Action Wrestling in Georgia, and was also a Death Valley Driver board guy going back, decades, and had kicked around the idea initially of bringing Yuki Ishikawa and Daisuke Ikeda to America to wrestle their match, because they've done it in Japan a lot and did it in Germany, but never done it in the U.S. So that was the original idea. We got farther down the road with those guys. Ended up, Ishikawa basically said, "Look, I think my back's too messed up to travel and do this kind of match. Like I need to sort of pass along to the next generation of guys." So then we kind of shifted to Mania weekend, shifted to a different, card, ran a Mania weekend show that people seemed to really enjoy, got a lot of, was a artistic, if not a financial success. Then ran, I got in touch with Tony Khan, and we ran Dean 2 and Dean 3 sort of in relationship with ROH. And then this one, the next show that we've got coming up in February, Death Valley Days, we left the Dean name, put the Dean name to the side a little bit. I thought we sort of covered it with the first 3 shows. This one's going to be more back. We're not on a major label anymore. We're back on Discord Records, doing more of a smaller indie show, but with some really cool ideas, and theoretically might be hook up back with ROH later this year. But that's in the discussion rather than the date plans.
And Tony Khan was a Death Valley Driver troll back in the day, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Coach Tony K. I had obviously no idea.
Coach Tony K.
But yeah,
I hope I slapped him around a couple of times on that board.
I was a much bigger dickhead when I was like 25 than I am now. So probably, but obviously he didn't hold it a grudge. Obviously, we're buddies now. So.
Now, Phil, this upcoming show, the Death Valley Days show, it's taking place in just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. Is that correct? Chattanooga. Oh, I'm sorry. Chattanooga's a much better place, to be fair. So, sorry to the Chattanoogans out there.
Yeah, I've never been. I've been to Nashville. It's the only part of Tennessee I've been to before. So I'm looking forward to checking out Chattanooga. Yeah, it's the Red Bank Arena, which is where a promotion called TWE runs pretty regularly.
Yeah. What do you have on the card so far for that night?
So far we've got 3 matches. 2 matches officially lined up, and then a third appearance. I don't think we've officially dropped the opponent, but we've got Mad Dog Connolly, who had versus Slade, and Mad Dog Connolly was semi-main evented the first show against Demas, which was a match that a lot of people really loved. Main evented the second show against Adam Priest in a dog collar match, and then the third show at the ECW Arena lost his hair to Demas. So he's been kind of the guy that's been on the top of most of the shows that we've done. He's wrestling Slade, who's a really great brawler from the East Coast. The guy's been in that, sort of does the prison gimmick both as a shoot and in real life. He wasn't on the first show because he was locked up.
He's headlined many state penitentiary cards in his day.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the top headlines, all of those, and we had him on. He was on part of Dean 3, and I remember him just kind of being pacing backstage, looking fucking terrifying. It felt like
Well, hold on. Before you go any further, no swearing on the show or on the radio. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
That's all right. It's Tom's fault as usual.
Podcast. I'm not used to doing radio. So that's then we've got.
Can you do it? Can you do it, Phil? Do we need to cut the interview short?
He can do it. You kidding me? Go ahead, Phil.
I apologize. I'm a father of small children. I should learn to keep my language clean and ready for the family consumption. So we've got Nathan Mowry is wrestling sort of the returning Mr. Insanity Toby Klein, who's kind of a king of the deathmatch icon guy from like the 2000s. And then we've got the return of Carl Malenko, who is one of the great shoot-style wrestlers of all time. Probably fighting champion, battle arts icon, a guy who has not wrestled a professional wrestling match in 15 years plus, really hasn't wrestled regularly in almost 20. And we pulled him out of retirement, and he's going to be wrestling on that show. And that's a pretty exciting. As a guy who was a gigantic, battle arts fan, obviously that was sort of the impetus for the whole idea of the show initially, to actually be able to pull that off. Out of all the crazy things that I've done, and I've written 2 books, I've written for The Ringer and GQ and Yahoo Sports, and had Blue Panther on 2 of my shows, and to pull Carl Malenko out of retirement is the apex of my pro wrestling lunacy journey, for sure.
Yeah, there's so many announcements I see in pro wrestling. There's so many cool matches. Like today, I just saw actually Gangrel versus Matt Tremont announced, which is a match I never thought I'd want to see, but nothing has gotten me more excited. Nothing popped me bigger than seeing that video of Carl Malenko training in his backyard like he's Carl Gotch 40 years ago on VHS. I got so excited seeing that. I cannot wait to see him in that ring.
Yeah, I'm super amped for it. I mean, like I said, the video, he sent us that video, and he said the only note was, could you put stranglehold over the workout thing? And like, I 100% can. That is something I can absolutely do. And it really felt to be like, if you guys should watch the video, it really felt to be like something, Central States would run. They're bringing in an opponent for Bulldog Bob Brower or something like that, which is very much the vibe that we're going for all of these shows. We want these to be like, want them to feel like a Death Valley Driver video review as a wrestling card, right? So we wanted to have a lot of variety, have a lot of different people, introduce you to things that guys you never heard of, introduce you to guys that maybe you'd heard of but never seen.
Well, tell everybody about these books.
What, tell you about the books? So I've written 2 books. So the first book was...
We're trying to get you some money, Phil.
Yeah, Tom needs to buy at least one of them because it got stolen.
Right, yes. I'll give you a copy next time I see you, Tom. I've owed you a copy.
Look at that, Tom. I just hooked you up.
Phil, you sent me the digital copy. It's fine.
Oh, I see. That's fine. But you got to have somebody got to feel the paper on your. So the first book is The Way of the Blade: 100 of the Greatest Bloody Matches in Professional Wrestling History, and that is sort of an essay about all of these different matches, stuff dating back to the 1950s in France, the lucha, to Japanese wrestling, to indie wrestling, to WrestleMania matches, just sort of a snapshot of the history of pro wrestling through bloody wrestling, and a really, really incredible illustrations in that by Chris Bryan. So that was the first book, and then the second book is sort of a sequel. It was a Way of the Blade AEW edition, and this is talking about the great bloody matches in AEW history, similar essays, and then the art. And then I also did a lot of interviews for that book. So I talked to John Moxley and Tony Khan and Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, and they were the Bunny, MJF, we know Darby Allin, everybody. Almost everybody I wanted to talk to, I was able to talk to. And then they kind of went pretty in depth in the way that they sort of looked at approach the matches that they were in. So I'd write about, Bryan Danielson, MJF Iron Man match, have a cool art for it, and then, long interview excerpts with both those guys about that match. So that's pretty cool. It's been fun to sort of turn writing from a hobby into something that I semi-make some money from, which is something that's happened in the last 3 or 4 years. Like I said, I was writing a weekly column for The Ringer for a while, and now I'm doing a lot of writing for Yahoo.
Now, are you looking to put together a third book? Is there something in the works?
Yeah, I'm probably just going to do a more traditional Way of the Blade sequel. I got a couple of other ones that are kind of sitting on my hard drive in my computer. I'm doing it with a Hybrid Shoe, which is John Stone's publishing company. So I've got one that's probably 35% done, and then another couple that are, floating around. And my goal is to try to do it, Michael Connolly style, where you can expect a new Bosch book every October and then sort of expect to do Phil Schneider joint every year. not there yet, but that's my eventual goal with that.
Are you as into pro wrestling as you were 20 years ago?
Probably not. I got kids now, and I'm married. You know, it's easier to not be in. And so it was interesting. For a while, when I was writing for The Ringer, I was doing a weekly column, and I was watching everything, which, like, I think you guys is similar to what you guys do, where I was watching, Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite, and I was writing about the Indies too, so I was digging into that, Japan, Mexico. So for a while, I was like really on my grind, and since I stopped doing that, I'm now sort of just more into, weirder projects. You know what I mean? Like I'll, I got a Wrestling Yume factory handheld from 1994, and I'm watching, writing up for Segunda Caída, or I'm doing stuff for the book. So I still am into the more obscure stuff. I would say I'm significantly less interested in the modern stuff, although I guess 2006, I don't know how interested I was in modern wrestling in 2006 either. So I don't know. Probably less than I was in 1998.
Phil, you've been obviously like a tape trader forever since it existed. Is there like a holy grail that's still out there that you could think of that you would love to get a hold of?
There's so much, right? So there's some things that I know from a friend of mine who went down to Mexico that apparently one of the owners of IWRG just has lucha from Arena Nacopan going back to the 1980s. Has just footage of rookie year Felino and all of these incredible hair and mask matches that happened in that arena. And I know that exists. So that's something that I'm salivating over. Obviously, the stuff that, whatever Omni footage they have in the vault that they haven't released yet, it's unclear about how much stuff they really have there, but obviously they were releasing that in fits and starts, and so there's all kinds of shows that you might guess they might have incomplete.
Well, hold that thought right there. We're going to head to a break. We'll talk more Lost Media after the break. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. I think this show was like the best and worst of AEW.
The earliest story of this show was somebody almost died in every match. I thought MJF's head was going to fall off his body.
It looked like he put his own head into the mat as hard as he could.
Momo kicks Mercedes. Mercedes might have a bruised larynx.
I was certain Swerve had broken his neck.
Man, this dude landed right on his head.
Mariah May versus Toni Storm.
Good Lord.
Mariah gets her hands on a champagne bottle and smashes it right into Tony's crotch.
Some guy in the front row holds up a sign that goes, "For the sickos!"
It sure was.
It's like, well, goddamn, this was for the sickos, all right.
As sick as you can get.
Yes.
I did not have glass to the vajayjay on my bingo card.
I don't know why not.
I certainly hope not.
You should have.
What kind of bingo are you playing over there? And the two big screens just read, "The End." This, in hindsight, absolutely should have ended the show.
Maybe it should have. However, I can't guarantee that this match was going to be this good with this much heat 5 hours into the live show.
Well, there's that.
Following all those matches we saw. Like,
true.
every time people say this should main event, it's like, are you sure you want that? They went Takeshita and Kenny. Another incredible match.
What is up with they have an announcer that wears a mask?
Oh, no. God, please, not this.
What
Anyway, the match.
What is that about?
I actually was fixing to give Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher the highest star rating on the show, but I would say that by the last 3-4 minutes, I was like, well, you did a little too much here. People are going to be mad, but it's true. We didn't need the Spanish fly off the top of the cage. This match would have been as good or better without it.
The penis first Styles clash into the tax.
That should be a finish.
That should be a career ender. It is tomb silent.
Oh, yeah, this crowd's dead.
They've seen every single goddamn thing two human beings can do to each other, and now men are grappling.
And Jason here goes, it's go away heat, Brian. He sucks. Listen, do you guys know what go away heat is?
Listen.
There were 11,000 people in this building. It's just like when people hated Jericho. There still is no evidence that he actually ran anybody off. They just didn't want him. Like, there's a difference. You want a different champion, but who is quitting AEW because Jon Moxley retained tonight?
Put the belt on Swerve immediately, as soon as possible. It could be me, it could be you, it could be Mark, anyone.
I don't want it.
Just, it's run its course.
All right. Golly, this Moxley has heat with these people. What did you think, Mark?
Oh, I'm coming for you now. I punched him in the diverticulitis. Piss like a sprinkler.
Go
Back
out, and
forth,
we are going to do
back
what was
and
billed.
forth.
No, not like this.
There was more. There was.
It's not for me. Why do you like it?
No,
so
Jason.
much? Are you guys on Tony's payroll?
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here. Filthy Tom, Phil Schneider is joining us. We got 2 more pieces of Pro Wrestling Lost Media, and then we got some plugs. Phil?
Sounds good. The other one is the NWA Houston archives, which somebody bought and was releasing on the internet. There's a Terry Funk Harley Race match, which is one of the best matches of all time. And then the guy sold the NWA to Billy Corgan, and then they stopped releasing that stuff. And then I want to get my friend Daisuke Ikeda to give me all this Futen. But 2 of those things I'm working on. I'm working on IWRG and Futen in 2026.
Excellent.
So,
well, tell us about the books and the shows, and let's get some plugs out there.
sounds good. So I've got the 2 books. They're both available on Amazon, Way the Blade AEW edition. Both of them I think are really cool for, hardcore wrestling nerds, or even people just, if you're listening to this, you're a big enough nerd that you'd enjoy both of those books a lot, I think. We've got the show coming up February 28th. If you're anywhere around Chattanooga, Tennessee, those tickets are available. Look up Action on X, and you can buy them there. But that's going to be I'm really excited about this show. It should be sick. The Dean 2 is on YouTube. Dean 3 is on ROH, the ROH Honor Club. Dean 1 is on IWTV. I've got some articles for Uncrowned, one that I'm working on right now that I'm really proud of and excited about, and some other really cool ones if you want to look at my archive there.
All right. Well, Phil, I want to thank you so much, Phil, for doing the show today. We are
you.
totally out of time. Yes, we'll do this again sometime as professionally as we can. Thanks for listening, everybody. Wrestling Observer Live.